So, I've only really done one actual video on anything before, and on that video I had a request. It was done by, I believe the name was Jubee Hillary. So she requested I do a video on ignorance. I said it would be up within a week, and it has definitely not been up in a week. I honestly didn't really expect people to care about a video, mostly for my own ramblings, but here goes. So, ignorance, as defined by Google, is the lack of knowledge or information. Now, I believe that there are two key types of ignorance. There is inherent ignorance, which is when you just don't know something. You never had a chance to learn it. It's like a 3-month-old baby not knowing social protocols in England. Well, of course not. Why would they ever know that? But beyond that type, there is willing ignorance. It is when you have the ability to learn something, but you choose not to, for a reason that is your own. I'll give an example of this. If you want to believe that your lifestyle or your choices are correct, and you never expose yourself to another type of lifestyle because you don't want to be shown that there's a better one than the choices that you have made in the past, that is something called willing ignorance. That is something you can blame people for. You can always blame somebody for the choices that they make, but not for who they are. Who they are would be inadvertent. If you're a 3-month-old baby, I can't blame you for not knowing how to write college papers. If you're a 34-year-old and you went to college and you graduated with a med school, yeah, I can blame you for not knowing how to, operate if you went into a surgeon. You had a choice to learn something, you simply didn't. Versus, you were something which didn't allow you to learn the thing that you had the option of doing. Ignorance by itself is neither good nor bad. Willing ignorance is bad. You should always try to learn the most that you can about yourself and the world that you live in. Inadvertent ignorance is inadvertent. It's not your fault. When you reach the age that you can learn, or you reach the situation where you can learn, to continue to stay ignorant changes from inadvertent to willing. Fix the willing ignorance. That being said, sometimes there is knowledge that you should not have. In my personal opinion, I believe that we shouldn't know everything that the government does. Plausible deniability is a good thing, in my opinion, when it comes to very sensitive topics. But there's also need-to-know bases for what we do on our normal life. I have a lot of friends, and they get depressed, and they kind of take an empathetic feel towards the world where if things around them are bad or sucky or people around them are hurting, they hurt more. They go more off the deep end. And so when they talk to me, I'll be like, I'm having a rough day, but I'm not going to tell them why, because I don't want them to go down. I won't tell people who it would hurt why I do particular things, or I don't tell them the full truth. I'll tell them the truth. I won't lie to anybody. But I won't necessarily tell them the whole truth. It's like, a long time ago, I met a girl online, and now she's my best friend. But my parents would never let me meet her since I met her online. So I said she goes to PCC, which is true. She did go to PCC, but they assumed that that was the answer to how I met her. Both statements are true. She goes to PCC, but I didn't meet her there. So there is a difference between letting people know the full truth and letting them know what they need to know or what is healthy for them. Sometimes it's just better for you to not tell the whole truth for their own health. And I think that's an important thing that people don't realize. As far as ignorance, though, I strongly advise against ignorance. But ignorance has a caveat. On a lot of highly objectionable topics, such as, gay marriage, or civil rights, or torture, or evolution versus creationism, or religion, or philosophy, just because somebody exposed themselves to another philosophy, but they still remained with their primary ones, doesn't mean they're ignorant or stupid. To say that would mean that you are ignorant and stupid for thinking that just because you have a different philosophy, everyone else is stupid for not having it. I mean, yeah, I'm religious. Do I think that I'm absolutely 100% right? Yeah, because I was raised that way. But I also know that not everybody was raised with the upbringing that I had. I don't expect people to have the same opinions and values as I do. I will certainly try to persuade them logically. I would very much like to engage in philosophical discussions with them and analyze and present counterclaims to their sides of view and have them question my view so that I have to question what I believe in. Questioning what you believe in is not a bad thing. But if you end up having the answers for all the questions that other people have, that doesn't mean that you were right, but it doesn't mean that you were wrong. Even if you don't have all the answers, it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Philosophy is a very personal thing. You can't say objectively that you're right or wrong. You can't know. I believe in a God, but I can't prove and summon him down and say, look, this is God, right over here. I can give mathematical or scientific explanations that help support it, but philosophy is exempt from ignorance, as assuming that they've exposed themselves to it. As long as they have exposed themselves, it's not ignorance, it is simply a different way of thinking. And people on the internet really need to get that through their heads. It's not ignorance. Just because people disagree with you doesn't make them ignorant. Keep that in mind. And with that, I will take any future requests for videos. If the other guy who commented on my first video ever decides what he wants me to talk about, I would be happy to do that too. Thank you, Jubee Hillary, and have a nice night.